Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face while you're sleeping. 10 worst things Batman has ever done. Let's face it, for all the good he does, nobody is ever going to call Batman well-adjusted. He dresses up like a rodent and fights crime. He lives in an underground cave with an old man. He picks fights with Superman. Oh, and he's got a serious ego problem, too. Everything has to be a Batmobile, a Batplane, or a Bat signal. Even his dog is a bat-hound. And not, say, just a regular dog. Still, there's a difference between being charmingly eccentric and outright crazy. And every now and then, Batman crosses the line. Sure, we all slip up now and then, but most of us haven't invested millions of dollars assembling a cutting-edge armory. And we didn't spend years forging our bodies into a lethal weapon. Batman did. So when he goes bad, he goes really bad. So, you might be thinking, what are we even talking about? Batman is this amazing hero who never does anything wrong. Well, we are about to burst your bubble, and here are the 10 worst things Batman has ever done. And trust us when we tell you, you are not ready for this. Let's go. Number 10. Laughed with Joker. This one might be tricky. While at face value it is awful, there are some underlying reasons why it might not be quite as bad as it looks. In the classic graphic novel Batman the Killing Joke by Alan Moore and Brian Boland, the Joker broke into Commissioner Gordon's home, shot his daughter Barbara, which led to her being confined to a wheelchair for years afterwards, kidnapped Gordon and then tortured him to see if he could make him break. He did all of this under the theory that any person, no matter how good, could break if they had one bad day. In the end, Gordon proves resilient and never breaks. Batman has the Joker in custody and asks Joker why they keep doing this. Joker tells him a joke, and Batman, in a moment of pure exasperation at the situation, begins to laugh with his arch-nemesis. Again, the whole thing was just due to exasperation over knowing that the rivalry was never going to end. Some also argue that he killed the Joker once they were done laughing. However, when Barbara later heard that Batman was laughing with the guy who paralyzed her, that hurt her a great deal. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that will take just 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell and you get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works. Number 9. Number 8. Erasing Robin's memory. You could argue that adopting orphan children, submitting them to rigorous and dangerous training exercises, and then sending them out to fight murderers and psychopaths is terrible all on its own. And let's face it, you wouldn't be wrong. And yet that's hardly the worst thing about the way Batman treats his various Robins. For example, in World's Finest number 153, a so-called imaginary story, a young Bruce Wayne becomes convinced that Superboy killed his parents. Years later, as Batman, Bruce plots his revenge against the last son of Krypton, and when Robin protests, Batman takes some drastic measures. First, Batman slaps the boy wonder on a panel that's so vicious, it becomes a meme all its own. Next, after Robin continues to stand up for Superman, Batman ties Robin to a chair and uses a hypnosis machine to erase all of Dick Grayson's memories. Finally, Batman drops Robin off at the local orphanage, off-panel, just to add to the indignity, and return to his vengeful crusade. Of course, Superboy didn't kill the elder Wayne, Lex Luthor did. At the end of the story, Lex confesses to the murder, claiming that he was trying to steal Thomas Wayne's anti-kryptonite formula when things got out of hand. A guilt-stricken Batman sacrifices his life to save Superman and dies in Superman's arms. But nobody tells Robin, who presumably languishes in the orphanage until he's old enough to live on his own. Number 7. Joker's BFF. Batman's arch-enemy, the Joker, is kind of his BFF. Well, why not? Batman brought him back from the dead, didn't he? Well, in Legends of the Dark Knight number 145, Batman finds the Joker bleeding to death in one of Ra's al Ghul's secret lairs. When Alfred calls for a celebration, Batman quickly explains that things aren't quite that simple. The Joker is the only person who knows what Ra's al Ghul is up to, and if Batman is going to stop the League of Assassins, he needs the Joker alive. So, Batman dunks Joker in one of Ra's al Ghul's life-restoring Lazarus pits, reviving the Clown Prince of Crime. It works, but there's a twist. While most people emerge from the Lazarus pit in a state of advanced psychosis, the Joker resurfaces completely sane. Plagued by his guilt over his past misdeeds, the Joker helps Batman track down Ra's, and it isn't long before Raz's plan is foiled for good. Unfortunately, the Joker's rehabilitation doesn't last. As the Lazarus pit continues to work its magic, the Joker's insanity slowly returns. meaning that every murder he commits from that point forward is Batman's fault. Sure, Batman saved the world, but it's hard not to imagine that there could have been another solution. Remember, Batman is officially the world's greatest detective. If anyone can find Ra's al Ghul without the Joker's help, it would be him. Number 6. Solitary confinement for eternity. Lord Deathman, as the name implies, is literally Death's master. He cannot die. Given that Batman doesn't usually kill, that shouldn't be a problem. Most of the time, he simply locks his villains away in Arkham Asylum and prays they won't get out. Spoiler alert, they always do. And yet for some reason, Batman decides to deal with Lord Deathman in a much more permanent manner, by locking the villain in a rocket and launching him towards the stars, where he'll spend the rest of time completely alone. This all goes down in Batman Incorporated number 2, an adventure that follows Batman, Catwoman, and a young man named Jiro Osamu as they avenged Mr. Unknown, a Japanese superhero. Apparently, the story is about Jiro becoming the new Mr. Unknown and joining Batman's international crime-fighting force. But it's Lord Deathman's cruel fate that really stands out, especially in the comic's final panel, which shows Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle calmly sharing a drink while Lord Deathman's ship twinkles in the sky above, beginning its long journey towards absolutely nothing. Number 5. Infecting Cyborg. Injustice, Gods Among Us might take place in an alternate reality, but Batman was breaking rules long before the timeline split and Superman went rogue. In Injustice, Gods Among Us, Year 1, Number 15, Superman and his cronies hack into Arkham Asylum with Cyborg's help and relocate Batman's rogues one by one to a secure secret prison. Batman tells Cyborg to stop opening the prison doors, and when Cyborg refuses to comply, Batman activates a computer virus that shuts Cyborg down completely. But how? As Cyborg notes, he upgrades his firewalls constantly, and Batman shouldn't have been able to get through his latest security updates. And that's the thing, he didn't. Cyborg realizes that Batman uploaded the virus into Cyborg's system the very first time they met, back when Cyborg was just a teenage football star recovering from a traumatic injury and has been waiting to use it ever since. Even Killer Croc admits, quote, "That's pretty evil." And it looks like a full-on Batman vs. Cyborg brawl is about to break out when Green Arrow, Harley Quinn, and an army of escaped mental patients intervene, forcing the dueling heroes to team up in order to survive. Number 4. Abused his fiancée. In Batman, The Widening Gyre, Bruce Wayne reconnected with the former love of his life, the transcendent Silver St. Cloud. Throughout the miniseries, the two lovers celebrate getting back together mostly through a lot of sex. However, being with Silver also clearly changed Batman's mood in general, causing him to actively propose marriage to her in the final issue of the series. She accepted, and Batman was actually truly happy for a moment. Then, of course, the paranoia kicked in. How did he know this wasn't a trap? Couldn't Silver be a robot? We honestly don't blame Batman for being concerned, but how he expressed those concerns were incredibly inappropriate. He assaulted Silver, pulling her hair out to test to see if it was real, and telling her to shut up until he could find out the truth. When she was proven to be real, she was way too forgiving for how cruel Batman just treated her. Number 3. Murdering the KG Beast. In 10 Nights of the Beast, from Batman 417 to 420, Batman ran afoul of a KG Beast, an assassin sent to Gotham City to kill a number of targets, culminating with the murder of the visiting president of the United States, Ronald Reagan. Batman was shocked in his initial encounters with the Beast of how outclassed he was. The Beast treated Batman like he was a joke. When Batman thought he had him trapped at one point, the Beast just cut off his own hand to escape. He then got a gun added to the stump on his arm. So, in the finale, Batman knew he couldn't beat the Beast in a straight fight. Instead, he used his knowledge of the Gotham City sewer system to trick the Beast into a room with no exit. Batman then trapped him in the room, with the intent of him starving to death. Cold-blooded right there. However, the next comics showed that the villain escaped. Number 2. He almost killed Alfred. Throughout the course of his 80 years spent under the cowl, Batman has been pushed to the edge time and time again. However, during the events of the Batman Who Laughs miniseries, Bruce is perhaps pushed to the furthest point in his career. Not only does Bruce eventually purposely allow himself to succumb to the effects of the Joker's toxin, but he loses control to such a degree that he nearly strangles Alfred to death when he won't give him back his new toy, a visor made from the nth metal, a substance that has gravity-negating properties. So, for the ones out there who thought Alfred is like a father figure in the life of Bruce Wayne, nobody is on Batman's safe list. Number 1. Creating OMAC. Remember how Batman came up with plans to take down his fellow heroes? Plans he didn't tell anybody about. Well, let's just say that he took things to a whole other level when he created an entire satellite design for monitoring his teammates, in part because subconsciously, he remembered that they had wiped his memory after he discovered that they were using magic to mess with supervillains' minds. The satellite then became both sentient and evil and began creating Omacs, half-human, half-robots who hunt down and kill superheroes. The Omacs killed a whole bunch of other people before the satellite was finally taken down in Infinite Crisis, leaving it as the worst thing that Batman has ever done in comics.